Cosmic Crack opens a new door to understanding the stars, moon, and planets for yourself and also for people in the news. Are they acting authentically or just faking it? You'll hear the inside scoop about those newsmakers, their mindset, and intentions. Host Jenny Stone shares her wit and wisdom about astrology right here each week on webtalkradio.net.
Hi there, and thanks for joining us. This is Cosmic Crack, where we examine the unseen energy of the universe. And in this episode, we're going to go for the inside scoop on William Barr, Attorney General 2020. William Barr, May 23rd, 1950, New York. That's when he was born, Gemini Sun, Mercury in Taurus, which can be a bit stubborn, Leo Moon plus Venus in Aries, and that gives him a little bit of aggressiveness, but it can also become obsessive with he wants what he wants. Okay, a little bit of history. William Barr believes that the president should have unfettered authority. He told President Bush, when he worked for him, that he believes harsher law enforcement, more tough penalties, longer incarceration, prison sentences would reduce crime. But on the other hand, he also urged Bush to release officials who'd worked undercover for him, even though they had blood on their hands. So, okay, he's a staunch Republican. And I'm assuming that came from his parents. His father was the headmaster at a prestigious private school in Manhattan, and his mother was a teacher at the same school. So, okay, he didn't have anyone at school or at home who would discuss anything, and he pretty much had to fall in line with everything they told him. Can you imagine? Your father's the headmaster, your mother is the teacher. You think they don't bring their opinions home? So this poor little guy was brainwashed. And, by the way, he's already a multi-millionaire from his legal work for Verizon. So, let's put all that aside and just look at his chart. And from his chart, from that perspective, there was severe childhood abuse. Parents who didn't give emotional support, and that left him feeling like he had to fit in. A little boy who's already emotionally sensitive, feelings easily hurt. And that part of the chart is reinforced with the Aries North Node and Mercury Retrograde at birth. So he came in a shy little guy. But it's not just this present lifetime. It's past lifetimes of abuse. That's what Aries North Node suggests. Past lifetimes, and in this lifetime he's supposed to stand up for himself. But when you come in to that kind of circumstance and surroundings, it's pretty hard to stand up for yourself. And then add to that the Mars in Virgo, which works hard, wants to be of service. And altogether, when you put it together, you get a child who is deeply influenced by the judgment of authority figures. And all that leads to being dependent on approval, and sometimes willing to help other people out before you take care of yourself. Can you see how that whole thing would lead to not being able to stand up for yourself? And he wanted so much to live up to their expectations, which puts him at risk health-wise. And as a grown-up, he wants to make other people happy. So let me count the ways. Mercury Retrograde makes him shy as a kid, not able to stand up for himself. Aries North Node, not wanting to speak out. Just wanting for life to be comfortable and quiet. And then add to that my own life story readings, which are based on an old manuscript that I translated. And from that we see the setbacks and uncertainties, especially before the age of 12. But altogether it made it almost impossible for him to overcome. But the good news is he has not been permanently marked by these painful experiences. But he has become emotionally dependent. He has subordinated his own free will just for becoming reliant on approval of others. If his childhood had not been so traumatic, perhaps he would have stood up for himself. But the way it played out, the only way forward he could see was to line himself up with the Trump administration. Right now I see him in a difficult place, privately extremely depressed and looking for a way out. Let's look at his health. My charts and readings say good recuperative powers, ample funds available for health care, but the emotional stuff could lead to sleepless nights and chronic mental conditions. Probably very, very depressed. Look for that when you see him. But here's the good news for him. He has some very strong influences coming up in 2021. And perhaps that would require that a lot of his present world falling apart and changing around him so that he can find his voice. And if he doesn't, well, it will be extremely difficult for him to stay where he is. But if he's able to swing in a new situation, then progress will be strong, he will advance quickly, and it would be especially helpful for him to have a wise woman around. I can't be there for him. But he needs somebody with wise judgment to tell him it's impossible for him to stay where he is. He has to move on. So, February 2021, there's a big change. Probably a new chapter in his life, a different location, and then, wowza, there's another big change in April 2021. And that's a move that will bring new energy and new friends, a big change. And what's interesting is both of these are very rare events that only happen once every 25 to 27 years. And an aside, let me tell you, not everything happens on day one, but it starts February, then April, and it picks up intensity. And it's very, very unusual to have both of these two events happen so close together. So whatever that change is, it will be ginormous. 2021. Big changes. And we'll watch. We'll watch to see if this is correct. We'll watch to see how this plays out. But by the middle of next year, his whole life is going to be different. So, let's see how it plays out. These are my predictions. And there's other things, but I don't have a time of birth to be able to look at some of the transits more closely. But we can all watch how these predictions play out. And next week we'll look at Jill Biden. Jill Biden. What a strong, hard-working woman that is. And we'll give you the behind-the-scenes scoop on Jill Biden. And for the moment, let me leave you with a quote from Jean-Paul Sartre, who's a French writer and philosopher. And he has a very similar chart and life story profile to William Barr. And he was speaking from the heart when he said, "There can be no doubt that the chief fault we have developed through the long course of human evolution is a certain basic passivity. When provoked by challenges, human beings are magnificent. But when life is quiet and even, we take the path of least resistance." And that's what he's done, that poor little guy. He was so brainwashed. It could have been religion, it could have been Scientology, it could have been a cult, but in the end it was politics. But he never stood a chance, and he couldn't fight back. So let's watch what happens together. And I hope you'll come back for the next episode. Let me send you power, purpose, direction. It comes from knowing who you are on the inside. And thanks for being here. I'll see you soon.